We're live.
Are we live?
Mm-hmm.
Shabbat.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I missed it. Shabbat Shalom, y'all. And welcome back to the Way of Truth through Torah. So there was no countdown.
No,
I
I
was
just
like,
jumped in there and
I know.
we don't know where we started.
I was just sitting here going, huh? So welcome back. Today's going to be a fun day. Every day's a fun day with y'all, isn't it? So guys, we are doing, not Deuteronomy, I'm still in the Shema. We're going to be doing Genesis 23, starting in 1, and we're going through 25:18. So it's not going to be a really long Torah portion, but it's going to be a pretty full Torah portion. And then we're going to hit 1 Kings 1 through 18. And I pray that we've got plenty of time, because we are also going to hit John 4, 3 through 14. So the Torah portion today, what is the name of it?
Yep. The land of Israel?
I'm sorry, I caught you off guard.
You did.
Sha'ai Sarah, which is the life of Sarah.
Oh, okay.
And actually, it says, and Sarah lived 127 years. So the very first sentence in your Torah portion, it spells out what your Torah portion is about. Cool. So that is where they come up with the name. So Sha'ai Sarah, which is the life of Sarah, we're going to actually see her death. Now, last week, what did we read about?
We read about the sacrifice of Yitshaq that might have happened. It didn't because Yahweh intervened, but it showed the faith of Abraham.
So yes, so we saw the Akida, when Yahweh went, Abraham, would you take your son up on Mount Moriah, and would you sacrifice him for me? And Abraham did it, because I do believe that Abraham had seen a vision of the resurrected Messiah. Okay, and I think he knew that Yah had the ability to raise him.
The ram caught in the thicket.
That's it, the ram caught in the thicket from the beginning of the ages. So we had the sacrifice of Yitshaq, which did not occur, but we also had in the book of Yasher the death of Sarah. Sarah died. Why? Satan. Satan is always going to connive and trick, and he uses truth, and then he twists it.
Stressed her out.
And we're seeing that today. I mean, we're seeing truth being twisted today in everything, to the point that we really are not sure what truth is anymore. And I'm talking about what we're seeing on the news today. Who knows what is factual and who knows what is lies anymore? They've twisted and turned it so much that we're not going to go into that, because I've got people over here going. So we're going into her burial, and it was beautiful. We're going into the first land purchase that was ever done in Israel, to prove that this land did belong to the tribes of Israel. Abraham made the first purchase. Who else purchased land? King David. Who else purchased land? I think it was Yaakov, and Jeremiah. And Jeremiah purchased a piece of land. So there were actually 4 patriarchs three patriarchs and 1 prophet that purchased land, and they have the deeds to it. And what's interesting is, as we go down the line, as we get further into the Torah portions, we're going to see that it is very important, because what land did Abraham buy?
The land that people think today is Israel.
He bought the land that is the cave of Machpelah.
Yeah, that was to put all the burial.
Yeah.
It was for the burial.
That's right. He bought the plots in the cave.
He did. And so, guys, I want to tell you something. Everyone's buried there except Rachel. Rahel is not there.
So, wow.
Yeah, well.
We forgot to pray.
We sure did.
Can I have something open some prayer?
Yes, please. So.
Abba Yah, thank you for this day. Thank you for watching over us, Father. Father, I'm asking you to watch over each one of our families out there, Father. Help them draw close to your truth and your word, Father. Be with us today, Father. Help us reach anybody that's out there asking questions about what we're doing and whatnot, Father. And just giving them your word and your truth, Father. We love you, we thank you, and we bless your holy set apart name and precious name of your son. We shall pray this on you.
Amen. And that is a good point. we do ask everyone that has questions, please send them in. Because guys, that's what we're here for. That's the only reason that we're doing all of the live streaming is so that we can share with you truth. And I'm going to miss your mom today because she really asked the questions that a lot of our live streamers are asking, but they don't know how to ask it. She is very bold. I love Mary, and so I'm
Good
going.
chess player.
She is a good. Oh, have you played chess with her or?
Yeah, we all have.
Oh, yes, we have. She tries to king. She tries to. What is it called?
She tries to checkmate.
Checkmate.
Yeah,
Yes.
She's very effective at putting you in check.
Yes.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
Back in Noah, this is somebody at work asked me this question, and I couldn't answer. So, can I ask you about it
Sure.
right now?
Sure. Didn't mean I'm gonna answer. No kidding. Go ahead.
Genesis, I believe it was 9.
I'm still looking. Genesis 9.
9:3.
Okay.
You know who asked this question?
Wait. It's gonna be Sunny.
Mm.
Sunny. Thank you for. Oh, I'm sorry. Every creeping creature that lives is food for you. I have given you all as I gave the green plants. There's a lot of added words in there. First of all, the italicized words, which you've got creature, you've got you got gave. All these were added in. So every creeping that lives is food for you. I have given you all as the green plants. I believe that what this is saying, if you take out the italicized words, is I have given every creeping thing that lives for food, the green plants.
I got you.
Okay?
Yes, so actually, there's some, I want to say it's the NASB, spells it out a lot more clearly, exactly like that. So check that in your YouVersion, like maybe
Okay.
NASB and NIV, because I think that's how it'll spell it out.
Well, I tell you what, I've got that on here. Let's just go ahead and pull it up right now, since that's so.
Which one are you going to
I mean, because if you understand where I'm coming from, he reads it from KJV, and
Yep.
he's like, okay.
That is
And that's
what-
where a lot
yeah.
of them are like, well, it says it right here.
But they're not showing the italicized or the added words.
Yeah.
And we do have our 4x right there, or right there, our 4x4. Every moving thing that is alive shall be food for you. I have given everything to you as I gave the green plant. So this is the NAS. It's the NASB.
Yeah, maybe it's not that one. I don't recall.
So he better defines it later on, but not every creeping critter is food for us. Just not.
And this is the version, the NLT version, which is totally different. This starts in verse 3. I have given them to you for food, just as I have given you grain and vegetables, but you must never eat any meat that still has the lifeblood in it.
Okay, that's good. That more clearly defines it. But listen, guys, let me ask you this question. This is after they have come off the ark.
Yeah.
Did Noah know what was set apart before they went on the ark? How many clean animals did he take on there?
7.
So-
7 of each clean animal, ritually and food wise. He took 7 of each of those, 7 pairs.
Was there anything unclean on there?
Yes.
Yes,
2 of each of these.
two of each.
Okay.
So everything that was unclean, there was only 2. Everything that was clean were
So
7
if he had
pairs.
eaten one of the unclean, that would have been it. There would have been no more unclean.
That's true.
So then it's like if you eat one of the mother or one of the father of the unclean, there's no more unclean to clean the earth.
That is such a good point.
Why would you want to eat anything that's cleaning the earth anyways?
Well, that's true. But what's interesting is there were only 2 of them. You eat one,
There's
you got no more. It's like the end of their life.
There were
Yeah,
There were 2 pairs of unclean and 7 pairs of clean.
No, there was one pair, right? Of the unclean. One
There were
pair.
2 pairs.
no, there was just a
One
pair. So there was 1 pair of unclean and then 7 pairs of clean.
I'd want to look at the Hebrew on that one. to be perfectly honest with you.
Right?
I can't read Hebrew.
I'm back in Genesis. I'm looking for my notes.
But I'd want to know what it says in the Hebrew.
Because I thought there were 2 pairs of unclean and one, I
Two
mean,
by
7
two.
pairs of
Yeah, Genesis
clean.
9:3 is confusing.
So Sonny asked the confusing questions. He always does.
Yep, and so I was like, okay. So he was like, but you said it. Y'all never change this. And I'm like,
He doesn't change it. And
That's what I told him.
I believe that what he's saying,
I was like, you're gonna let this whole deal
Yeah.
keep you away from.
but how do you do away with the latter law that was, you can, these are the animals you eat. Leviticus 11
Exactly,
defines
Leviticus
it.
Leviticus.
And
Did you find
Deuteronomy.
it? Where is it?
What is it?
So Genesis 7:2 says, of all the clean beasts, take with you 7 pairs, a male and his female. And of the beasts that are unclean, 2, a male and his female.
Yeah.
One pair.
So that's still one
Yeah,
pair.
but the previous comment is the same structure of sentence. Of all the clean beasts, take with you 7 pairs, a male and a female. And of the beasts that are unclean, 2, a male and his female.
7 pairs.
We're gonna look that up, in the
Yeah,
4x4 at lunch, and we'll get back with you.
Sorry, I had to ask this.
No, it's a great question. It makes me wonder what
It's
the
a very,
Hebrew says, though.
it's a very good question, so we'll get it.
So in NLT it says, take with you 7 pairs, male and female, of each animal I've approved for eating and for sacrifice, and take 1 pair of each of the other.
Okay, so it's one, so it is 1 pair of the unclean, 7 pairs of the clean, which Bible,
NLT.
in the
New
New
Living
Living Translation tells us that it's 7 pairs of the clean that he intends for you to eat and sacrifice. No, not all of the clean can be used as sacrificial animals. Y'all know that, right? Okay, so of all the clean, you can only sacrifice the rams, the goats, the sheep, and the cattle. Can't throw a mule up there. Well, that's not clean. You can't throw a deer up there. Okay, the deer were not clean for sacrificial purpose. Okay, there. We just went back in Genesis. That was fun. Thank you so much, Seth.
I have more.
You have more. Well, and see, all this while I'm over here looking for where I originally started my notes.
No,
You
but
have
I want
something.
another thing to
I
like.
was just reading further.
Ask at work.
It's a
You're being
fascinating
tested.
question.
As to what?
I said that those are some of the things that I get asked at work. So I'm like, hold on, let me talk to the higher ups.
Well,
Well, I find it's interesting that the questions I get asked that come out of the people who normally don't ask sophisticated questions are the ones I can't answer. And they come out of some of the least sophisticated thinkers that I talk to sometimes. And it's like, why are you asking me an Einstein level question when I normally am surprised when you add 1 + 1 and get 2 out of it?
No.
And so that's a horrible thing to say, but it's true sometimes because it behooves me to understand who could be putting these questions that I can't have I just don't have answers to into their heads other
Keeping
than the
sharp.
enemy to
it is
test
the
me.
enemy.
Yes.
And it's like, because you just, how is it?
Well, Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
It doesn't say what kind of iron.
Yeah.
You didn't know you were going to be working with a butter knife.
Right. But I think it's awesome because I would really feel like it's an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
because we have to test our own faith and we do have to test our iron against each other. And so I think questions like that are awesome because they make us really think, what do we believe? Why do we believe it? Can we test it with scripture?
So we need to start writing. We need to
Oh,
put
a little
these.
book.
We need to put these
I'll do
down
that.
in a book where we
Yes.
can keep the hard questions because this is what everyone wants to hear. We'll have one day that we go through all the hard questions that we never answered
Look,
from
my
you
mom has
because
a
we.
book of questions.
We'll go through
Oh.
it.
Sure she
really?
does. I swear I think that's what it is. But like, I
We'll call it
promise
the
that's
Book
what
of Paul and Mary.
I think that's what she writes down as her questions.
I think that's good. I think
I'm
it's
gonna go through
good.
it tonight when I get home.
Yeah, and send a copy to me.
I need a cheat sheet.
Send it to us.
Yeah,
Not
I do.
practice.
And guys, when we got to that verse, we ran across that. Like, did y'all see how fast I ran across it? For a reason. Okay. Well, it's a hard one.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's going
that,
to take some study.
yeah, because we know what's clean. We know what we can eat. And so how do you justify what he's saying there, except that they have added a lot of words? Okay,
Yeah.
let's get into the Torah portion, and it's going to be amazing. Okay, so we know why Sarah died. Did she die from joy or sadness?
Joy.
Joy.
She died laughing.
So listen, guys. What we see in Genesis 23:1, it says, "And Sarah lived 127 years, the years of the life of Sarah. And she died in Kiriath Arba, and that is in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her." And we talked about this last week. This has been one of those verses until I realized that they had removed books from the Bible. This is one of those verses that I was like, we're separated, or she left him. I mean, what is going on here? After he carried Yitshaq up, it's like she went, "Bye, I'll see you later. I'll see how you feel about our son." So this has been one of those verses that has really haunted me. It haunted me for a lot of years. And so the clearing up is, Hasatan came to Sarah while Abraham and Yitshaq were up on the Mount Moriah. And what did he say? "That crazy old husband of yours, he's taking your son up to be sacrificed." That silly old man scared her, and she thought it was really an old man. Listen, Satan can come to you in many forms, and he's always going to be believable. And if you're not educated and knowledgeable about the word of Yah, you're going to be deceived and you're going to be tricked. Just as we're going to be reading about her this evening. Hua, Eve, every time he came to her, she fell for it because women are emotional. Your husband needs you. He's calling for you. "Oh, well, let me come out of the water for you. Tell me to stay until he came and got me." I'll quit praying. Here I come. So he's going to come to you in a very tempting manner, always. Yes, sir.
Matthew 7:15, "But beware of the false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are savage wolves."
That is specifically Satan. I mean, that is him in a. What was that verse? Matthew
7:15.
I would have
Word.
a pen that does not work. Okay. Speaking of pens.
Oh no, we're never gonna get to the Torah portion. We'll save it for next time.
Speaking of pens, look at this. Is this not cool? I don't, wait.
It's a bolt action.
It's a
pen.
bolt action pen. Wait, let me put it over here. You see that pin head come up? Like a rifle. Look at this. Is this not beautiful? This is buffalo antler. This is gorgeous. So we have the Wright brothers who make the right
Penmanship.
Right penmanship.
the right penmanship.
Buffalo antler.
These are custom made. They are beautiful.
Beautiful
So
pens.
these are going for $50. But they have got amazing pens for sale. And so if you're interested in purchasing, I don't even have their phone number. They're not supporters of us, but they are part of our class here. And so they've got this company and they're doing great things. Look at this. Look at that. Can you see it?
Very cool.
It is just beautiful. But they are selling these. Can I write with your pen?
You can.
Matthew.
Welcome to use it.
7:15.
Okay. I've got greasy paper. So if you're interested in a custom made pen, they make it out of olive wood, they make it out of deer antler, they make it out of buffalo antler, they make it out of
Acrylic?
Woods.
exotic woods. What?
Acrylic.
Acrylic.
Acrylic. They can make you acrylic. Who wants acrylic when you can get antler, right?
I know, right?
I mean, wood, any kind of wood you want. So if you're interested, their phone number is 409 791 5985. But guys, they are very fast. They get them to you quickly. And is that one?
Yeah, and it's acrylic.
Can I see that?
And
Look at
You
that.
can't
pretty
even
pen.
you can't even
That's
say
just
that right.
Beautiful.
This is
Here, catch this.
this is acrylic. It is not acrylic.
Rose gold
I don't know what's wrong with
accent.
that girl over there.
Ivory
This
acrylic.
acrylic.
this is beautiful, and that is olive wood, isn't it?
Cocoa ball.
I was gonna say, yeah. That's,
It's cocoa ball.
Yeah. that's
Cocoa ball
pretty.
wood, and this is acrylic down here. I mean, they really do. Whatever you want, they can build it. Just about.
Yep.
And they fix lawnmowers. I mean, whatever you need, the Wright brothers, they do it right every time. But they don't build planes. They don't build airplanes. I don't get it. They should,
They're not
right?
in Kitty Hawk. We have them here.
As they get older, they may be building spaceships. We don't know.
Could be.
Okay, so so we know that Sarah was confronted by Satan. He came to her. He said, "Your son is being sacrificed by your husband." And then he came back later because she went rushing to Hebron. She went rushing looking for them. She actually sent not Eliezer, but one of her servants to Noah's house looking for her husband and her son. She didn't find them. And so she came back home, and Hasatan found her. She didn't come back home. He found her on the road, and he said, "Look, I was wrong. He didn't kill him. He's still alive." And out of joy for the fact that her son was still alive, her heart stopped beating. It says that, what does it say? Her life just jumped out of her body. She was so joyful. From the joy, she just went, and she didn't breathe anymore, and she just died right there. And so when Abraham came down from Mount Moriah, which is a place that Yahushua was sacrificed, where Yitshaq was carried to be sacrificed, but Yah had provided a ram up there, caught in the thickets from the day that he created the earth. That is so cool.
Yeah, it is.
That is just so neat. He has everything planned out for us. Hasatan jumped in there and caught the ram by the horns and wouldn't let him go. So he was hoping that Yitshaq would die, because Yitshaq was the seed in which Yah had made a covenant with Abraham to populate the whole world. Okay, so this is why she died in Kirjath Arba. And that is up close to Hebron, which is close to Jerusalem. Then Abraham, I'm in 23:3. Then Abraham rose up from beside his dead and spoke to the sons of Heth, saying, "I am a foreigner and a sojourner among you. Give me property for a burial site among you, so that I may bury my dead from my presence." And the son of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, "Hear us, my master. You are a prince of Elohim among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our burial sites. None of us withholds from you his burial site, from burying your dead." So Abraham rose, he bowed himself to the people of the land, to the sons of Heth, and he spoke with them, saying, "If it is your desire that I bury my dead from my presence, hear me, and approach Ephron, son of Zohar, for me, and let me have the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me for the complete amount of silver as property for a burial site among you." And Ephron dwelt among the sons of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abram in the hearing of the sons of Heth, all who entered the gate of his city, saying, "No, my master, listen to me. I shall give you the field and the cave that is in it. I shall give it to you in the presence of the sons of my people, and I shall give it to you. Bury your dead." And Abraham bowed himself down before the people of the land, and he spoke to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, saying, "If only you would hear me, I shall give the amount of silver for the field. Take it from me, and let me bury my dead there." And Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, "My master, listen to me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? So bury your dead." And so Abraham's going to pay him for this. He wants to have the deed to this property. And Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out the silver for Ephron, and he named in the hearing of the sons of Heth 400 shekels of silver, currency of the merchants. Thus the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, which were within all the surrounding borders, were deeded to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the sons of Heth, before all who went in at the gate of the city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre, which is in Hebron of the land of Canaan. Thus the field and the cave that is in it were deeded. They were deeded to Abraham by the sons of Heth as property for a burial site. When he says deeded, we're going to go into the book of the Sefer. You've already got it pulled up. 24. Yes.
You want me to start?
Well, let's see where we're going to start. In Yasher? Oh, you're in.
I'm in Genesis. You want me to go to Jasher?
We're going to go to Yasher. I believe it's gonna be 24 or something.
This is why I wanted people to have scepters so they could read along for this.
Yes, and that is very good. Okay, in 24:9, which I can't tell you the page, but in Yasher, chapter 24, verse 9. So you're gonna read verse 9,
Okay.
and then we're gonna go down to 14. Do what? Go ahead.
And Abraham took the sefer of the purchase and placed it in his treasures. And these are the words that Abraham wrote in the sefer, namely, that the cave in the field Abraham bought from Ephron the Shittite, and from his seed, and from those that go out of his city, and from their seed forever, are to be a purchase to Abraham, and to his seed, and to those that go forth from his loins, for a possession of a burial place forever. And he put a signet to it, and testified it with witnesses. And the field and the cave that was in it, and all the place were made sure unto Abraham, and unto his seed after him, from the children of Cheth. Behold, it is before Mamre and Chevron, which is in the land of Canaan. And after this, Abraham buried his woman Sarah there, and that place and all its boundary became to Abraham and unto his seed for a possession of a burial place. And Abraham buried Sarah with pomp as observed at the interment of kings, and she was buried in very fine and beautiful garments.
Isn't this beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what a deed is?
Mm-hmm.
You've
It
got
gives you
to-
possession to your land or to
It's
your
a written-
car. Or
It's a written, it's literally a written piece of paper stating that this is your property. I would sign it as a seller.
Yep.
And you would receive it. You wouldn't
I would.
even have to sign it.
And
I
that
would
would
sign it
transfer
over,
what you
if I was
sold
selling something to Ashley, I would sign it over to he and Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
They would take that, and they're gonna take very good care of that deed. They're gonna have it recorded.
Mhm.
Well, there was no place to record the deeds in Canaan, right?
We
At
needed
that
government
time.
for that.
Yeah, we needed, yeah, thank goodness we got government now. Wow,
That's
what would we do
wonderful.
without them? Oy vey.
Yeah.
But listen, this piece of paper, this book of the purchase, Abraham is going to take good care of this. Who's he going to pass it down to?
His son's.
Yitshaq. So Yitshaq is going to get this, and Yitshaq will be buried there.
Yep.
Sarah was buried there. Guess whose possession that land is in right now? Guess who built something over the top of that cave? Herod.
Oh, okay.
Herod built something over the top of that cave.
Wow.
And the cave itself is now in the possession of the Muslims.
Well, yes.
So, well, and this is over close to Hebron. It's where this is. So, guys, everything has been changed. I wish I could find all my notes, and I'm gonna look for them later because I took a lot of notes on the locations and all the properties, but they're over there in the orange thing. So, I will find those in just a little bit while you're reading. Okay, I want you to listen to how beautiful this funeral and how elaborate it was. And just go ahead and start reading, and I will stop you when you get to the place that needs to be stopped. But I want you to be, because I'm not sure. But listen, I want you to hear the words that he's saying. The rabbis believe that Yitshaq was actually sacrificed, because Yitshaq goes away after this. Okay, you don't see him. In fact, in the scriptures, you don't see anything about him for a couple of. And I don't think he shows back up until 25. Okay, I want you to listen to where Abraham sent him. Where do you think he sent him?
Guess we're gonna find out.
Now, come on, guess. Where did Abraham grow
Home?
up?
Oh, the cave with his uncle Shem
He went to Noah's
and Noah's
house.
Okay.
And
Makes
Shem.
sense.
So he sent
And
him
even-
back to there.
Yes.
Safety.
Well, not just safety, but he wanted him to learn the ways of Yah.
And you're better to learn from than Shem.
That's it, because Shem was a teacher of Torah. So, but the rabbis teach that he was actually crucified, or not crucified, but sacrificed and burned up,
Well,
and that he came back to life.
how interesting.
This is rabbinical, okay? This is not true. Here's the rest of the story. I got proof.
We're gonna have to get into the rest of the story.
Now, you do it. I'm going to be looking for my notes.
Where are we?
He's in 14 of
14.
24.
Yep. And at her coffin was Shem, his sons Eber and Avimelech, together with Anar, Eshcol, and Mamre,
Okay, and I've got a question.
Mhm.
Abimelech.
Mhm.
I know, you didn't make it very far. Abimelech,
What about him?
is this the same one that Abraham went to as a king?
I don't
This-
know.
this- this-
That's weird.
Interesting.
Let me tell you who Abimelech is. Abimelech is Shem's son. And you're going to see later on, as Ashton is reading, that when Abimelech dies, Abraham goes to his funeral.
Interesting.
I'm asking this question, and I have researched it and researched it. I think that somewhere it's going to show us whether it's a yay or nay. But listen, Yitshaq also goes to Abimelech.
Hmm.
I'm just saying, it could be cousins there somewhere.
Could be if they're
Right.
going to each other's funerals.
Yeah,
You know,
Okay,
I tend
you
to go
keep-
to family funerals, not much more.
Yeah.
Real close friends.
yeah,
I'm going to start back at that and let's go through that again.
yeah, do it.
And at her coffin was Shem, his sons Eber and Abimelech, together with Anar, Ashkel, and Mamre, and all the grandees of the land followed her coffin. And the days of Sarah were 127 years, and she died. And Abraham made a great and heavy mourning, and he performed the rites of mourning for 7 days. And all the inhabitants of the land comforted Abraham and Yitshaq his son on account of Sarah. And when the days of their mourning passed by, Abraham sent away his son Yitshaq, and he went to the house of Shem and Eber to learn the ways of Yahweh and his instructions, and Abraham remained there 3 years. At that time Abraham rose up with all his servants, and they went and returned homeward to Beersheba, and Abraham and all his servants remained in Beersheba. And at the revolution of the year, Abimelech, king of the king of the Pelishtim, died in that year. He was 100 Philistines. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Pelishtim, probably. Died in that year. He was 193 years old at his death, and Abraham went with the people to the land of Pelishtim, and they comforted the whole household and all his servants. And he then turned and went home. And it was after the death of Abimelech that the people of Gerar took Ben-Malik his son, and he was only 12 years old. And they made him lie in the place of his father. And they called his name Abimelech after the name of his father, and thus was it their custom to do in Gerar. And Abimelech reigned instead of Abimelech his father, and he sat upon the throne. And Lot the son of Haran also died in those days, in the 39th year of the life of Yitshaq. And all the days that Lot lived were 140 years, and he died. And these are the children of Lot that were born to him by his daughters. The name of the firstborn was Moab, and the name of the second was Ben-Ami. And the 2 sons of Lot went and took themselves women from the land of Canaan, and they bore children to them. And the children of Moab were Ed, Maon, Tarsus, and Convul, 4 sons. These are the fathers to the children of Moab, and to this day.
Okay, listen, I want to bring up something here.
Mhm.
So Tarsus, where did Shaul, Shaul from where?
Tarsus.
All of
Tarsus? And that was in Rome. So what you're going to see is these grandees, these children of all these men of renown. They named the cities that they
Yeah.
established after themselves.
They did.
So this is highly possible one of Lot's grandchildren's properties that where Shaul grew up. When they dispersed out of Jerusalem, left because of what was going on, the persecution that was happening in Jerusalem, they went to Tarsus, and this is where he grew up.
That makes sense.
So there's just so many, oh my goodness, in here that you just go, wait a minute. But you're going to see, as Ashton continues to read, you're going to see many names that are in Egypt, that are in, well, listen, even when he sends Yitshaq back, or Eleazar, not Yitshaq, Eleazar back to find a wife for Yitshaq, where does he send him? We're going to get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And all the families of the children of Lot went to dwell wherever they should light upon, for they were fruitful and increased abundantly. And they went and built themselves cities in the land where they dwelt, and they called the names of the cities which they built after their own names. And Nahor the son of Terach, brother to Abraham, died in those days, in the 40th year of the life of Yitshaq. And all the days of Nahor were 172 years, and he died and was buried in Haran. And when Abraham heard that his brother was dead, he grieved sadly, and he mourned over his brother many days. And Abraham called for Eleazar his head servant to give him orders concerning his house. And he came and stood before him. And Abraham said to him, Behold, I am old. I do not know the day of my death, for I am advanced in days. Now therefore rise up, go forth, and do not take a woman for my son from this place and from this land. from the daughters of Canaanim amongst whom we dwell. But go to my land and to my birthplace, and take from thence a woman for my son. And Yahweh Elohim of heaven and earth, who took me from my father's house and brought me to this place, and said unto me, to your seed will I give you this land for an inheritance forever. He will send his angel before you and prosper your way, that you may obtain a woman for my son from my family and from my father's house. And the servant answered his master Abraham and said, behold, I go to your birthplace and to your father's house, and take a woman for your son from there. But if the woman be not willing to follow me to this land, shall I take your son back to the land of your birthplace? And Abraham said unto him, take heed that you bring not my son hither again, for Yahweh before whom I have walked, he will send his angel before you and prosper your way. And
Okay, hold on just a second. We're going to go back to the scriptures. So we have, what you're going to see is a beautiful picture of the house of Israel.
Mhm.
You're going to see Yahushua. You're going to see the house of Israel being brought back with the bride, and the bride is going to be Rebekah. But let's see here.
We're in 24, I believe.
Okay. So I think it's important here when the servant asked, what if the woman will not come back with me? Guys, a woman, Rebecca, will be representing the house of Israel. So Yah is never going to force us to do anything. We have to choose. Isn't that beautiful?
Yep.
So the bride has to choose. She has to make the right choice. Okay, why does he not want, and this is the same reason Moshe was very careful in his marriage. Why does he not want him taking a wife from the land of Canaan?
They've got some interesting customs and traditions that we're not to follow.
That they have many customs, and literally it is actually a commandment. In Deuteronomy 7 verse 3, he says, do not intermarry with them, do not give your daughters to his son, do not take his daughter for your son, for he will, and this is because of everything that you just said,
Turn them
actually.
away.
That's it. He said, they'll turn your sons away from following me to serve other mighty ones. So in order to keep your lineage clean and pure, because listen, if you're growing up in a Hindu family, what are you going to practice? Hinduism.
Yeah, it's in the Shema. It's very clear in the Shema. Do not turn to the other mighty ones of those around you.
That's exactly right. And this is the same thing that he told them in Numbers. So you have to take someone from the house of Israel. And this is what he's trying to do. He's sending him back to his family. Okay, I'm going to read, and then you're going to be picking up in 24. 24:1, and Abraham was old and advanced in years, and Yahweh had blessed Abraham in every way. And Abraham said to the oldest servant of his house, who ruled over all that he had, put your hand under my thigh. What's he doing?
Making an oath.
Okay, it's not actually his thigh that he's making an oath with. Can you go to Genesis 17, 10 through 11? So guys, this is where Yahweh made an oath with Abraham.
This is my covenant which ye shall guard between me and you and your seed after you. Every male child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a sign of the covenant betwixt me and you.
Okay, so what Abraham is using is the same thing that Yah used as this is a sign of the covenant. And what he's saying when he said, put your hand under my thigh, he was actually saying, put your hand on the covenant. Can you? The portion of the male that was circumcised. This is representing the covenant. And so, I mean, we don't thank you, Yah, that we don't do that today. But this is what Abraham was doing. He was like, this is how important this is to me. You're taking a covenant from me, and you're swearing to me on this covenant, okay? So many people don't understand what that is referring to. This is exactly what it's talking about. He said, so that I make you swear by Yahweh, the Elohim of the heavens and the Elohim of the earth, that you do not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but go to my land. Well, the Ur Kasdim was his land, wasn't it? He is sending Eleazar back to Babylon. And isn't it interesting that just prior to this, what did we see? And it was probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years prior. Well, it is 10 years prior, because by the time Eleazar arrives in Babylon, Rivka is 10 years old. So it's about 11 years, because she's 10 years old when he gets there. But he's sending him back to the land that he came from. This is also called the fire of Ur, the fire of the Kasdim, and it's also called Padam Aram. It's all the same place. So it's in Babylon. It's in Iraq. This is where he sent him. Isn't that hard to believe? In Babylon.
Yeah. All places.
This is also where Jonah was sent to preach to. Well, Nineveh. Babylon.
Yeah.
Babylon. And the servant said to him, what if the woman refuses to follow me to this land? Do I then take your son back from which you came? And Abraham said to him, beware that you do not take my son back. Okay, we're going to stop for a moment, because I want you to understand why Yitshaq will never leave Israel. He cannot leave Israel. What was he? When they went up to Mount Moriah and he was going to be offered up, what was he?
He was a sacrifice.
He was a sacrifice. He was absolutely going to be, because Abraham was going to do exactly what y'all told him. If you turn to Leviticus 1, and it's going to be, let's see here, it's going to be in verse 3. This is called the Olah offering, but we're going to read it, and it's going to call it the ascending offering here. It's a burnt offering. It is a free will offering. It's an offering to draw closer to Yah. And here it says, if his offering is an ascending offering of the herd, let him bring a male. He's going to be perfect. Let him bring it to the door of the tent of appointment for its acceptance. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the ascending offering, and it shall be accepted on his behalf to make atonement. And he shall slay the bull before Yahweh, and the sons of Aaron the priest shall bring the blood and sprinkle the blood all around the slaughter place which is at the door of the tent of appointment. And he shall skin the ascending offering, cut it into pieces, and every single bit of this, every single bit of this offering, the sons of Aaron the priest shall arrange the pieces with the head and the fat on the wood, excuse me, which is on the fire, on the slaughter place. Put the entrails and its legs he washes with water, and they shall burn all of it. Every bit of this offering is burned on the altar. This is what Yitshaq was. He was an Olah offering, a free will offering. Because what did y'all say? Abraham, would you do this for me? And that's what Abraham was going to do. Since he was the Olah offering, he can never leave the land of Israel. It would make it null and void. Isn't that interesting? And you're never going to see him leave. I'm so sorry. So Abraham said to him, beware lest you take my son back there. And Yahweh Elohim of the heavens, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my relatives, and who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, to your seed I give this land, he sends his messenger, which is Yahusha, before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. And if the woman refuses to follow you, then you shall be released from this oath, only do not take my son back there. And then the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and he swore to him concerning this matter. The servant took 10 of his master's camels and left. 10's an interesting number, isn't it? How many tribes of Israel left?
Northern Kingdom, 10, I believe.
It was 10, exactly.
Yeah.
So when the split of the house of Israel took place, 10 split off and they went north, and they ended up actually going east because they were the first ones captured. Oh, Kaylin, thank you. He always takes care of this little rattle in my throat. And he made his camels, and the servant took 10 of his master's camels and he left. For all his master's good gifts were in his hand, and he arose and he went to Naharam, to the city of Nahor. Nahor has already died, hadn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who is Nahor married to? Who was Sarah's sister? Milcah.
Oh, mine went blank.
I know. Well, it's because we got so many names popping around.
There's a lot of names in this one.
There are. So Nahor, which was Abraham's brother, was married to Milcah, which was Sarah's sister. So they literally married sisters and brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nahor has passed. Milcah, do you know what her name means? Queen.
Okay.
What did he name Sarah? My princess.
Mm-hmm.
So Terah really loved his daughters, and they were beautiful. They were very, very beautiful. Milcah was beautiful, and Sarah was beautiful. And of course, Sarah became the princess of all the nations. And he made his camels kneel down outside the city by a fountain of water at the evening time, the time when the women go out to draw water. And he said, Yahweh, Elohim of my master Abraham, please cause her to meet before me this day and show loving commitment to my master Abraham. I think this is amazing because what was the scuttlebutt about while they were walking up to Mount Moriah? Who went with Yitshaq and Abraham?
Ishmael.
Ishmael, and who else? Eleazar. And what were they arguing about? When Yitshaq is dead, everything that Abraham has is going to be mine.
Yeah.
And Eleazar was like, get out of here. He sent you away. It's going to be mine. They were arguing over who was going to heir everything that Abraham had. And so this is after the intended sacrifice that did not happen, rabbis. And Eleazar is praying on behalf of Abraham and for Yitshaq. And I just think that shows he's learned so much being under the leadership of Abraham, who learned so much being under the guidance of Shem and Noach. He said, see, I am standing here by the fountain of water, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. Now let it be that the young woman to whom I say, please, let your jar down and let me drink. And she says, drink and let me water your camels too. What a heart. Let her be the one whom you have appointed for your servant Yitshaq, and let me know by this that you have shown loving commitment to my master. And it came to be, before he had ended speaking, that see, Rivkah, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Avram's brother, came out with her jar on her shoulder. And the young woman was very good looking, a maiden, no man having known her. And she went down to the fountain, filled her jar, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, please, let me drink a little water from your jar. And she said, drink, my master. And she hurried, let her jar down to her hand, and gave him a drink. And when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, let me draw water for your camels too, until they have finished drinking. And she hurried. She has got the same characteristics as Abraham. When the messengers came to visit Abraham to let him know, he had just been circumcised too. He was running about like a young man, taking care of them, wasn't he? And he was almost 100.
Sounds like she's got some Proverbs 31 characteristics.
She
going on
does,
here.
doesn't she?
Mhm.
She's just gracious. What does the word say? Do everything as if you're doing it for Yah himself. Look at her character. She's only 10 years old, and she's not like, oh, this jar is too heavy for me, or I can't lift all that water by myself. She voluntarily says, I'll fill the trough until your camels are done drinking. And a camel can drink a lot of water.
Mhm.
Okay? So 10 camels. And she hurried and she emptied her jar into the trough and ran back to the fountain to draw water and drew for all of his camels. And watching her, the man remained silent in order to know Yahweh had prospered his way or not. And it came to be when the camels had finished drinking that the man took the golden nose ring, weighing half a shekel, and 2 bracelets for her wrist, weighing 10 shekels of gold, and said, Whose daughter are you? Please inform me, is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night? And she said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, Milcah's son, whom she bore to Nahor. She is Milcah's granddaughter. And this is the way Yah works everything out is just beautiful.
Sure is.
And so she's got the beauty of her mom and the beauty of Sarah. And I'm sure that when Eliezer saw her, she probably resembled, it's like Clara. Well, where'd Clara go? Clara resembles her mom. Oh, she's back there. She's hiding. She's got her mom's beauty. That daughters do that. Jessica, do you look like your mom?
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that neat? And I have noticed that Wesley Ann also looks like Mary. So we take on our mother's characteristics. And don't you know that he saw this in Rivka? And she said to him, we have both straw and fodder enough and room to spend the night. And the man bowed down his head and he worshiped. Don't you know that he was so thankful that he was not going to
He thought this wasn't going to work out real well for him, and it did.
It
was
worked out
starting to.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly. And he said, Blessed be Yahweh, Elohim of my master Abraham, who's not forsaken his loving commitment and his truth toward my master. Okay, so look at this whole story. Yitshaq is the Olah offering. This is the holiest offering you can offer. Okay, it's not a sin offering. This is not something where you've done something wrong and you're offering up a sin offering. It's not a Thanksgiving offering. It's literally an offering to draw nearer. So he is the holiest of all offerings, is what he was. So you've got a representative of Yahusha. You've got Eleazar, who is representing the Holy Spirit. You have Abraham, who is representing Yah. And you've got Rivka, who is representing she's representing the bride. He's going to come back with 10 camels loaded down with her and her maidservant and gifts. So
We're going to be ready to go.
they are going to be ready to go. But this is just a beautiful prophetic picture of us and the house of Israel. Look at her eagerness. This is the bride to be. It's the same as y'all. You dig in, you search out scripture, you go steps far beyond what is even expected. When you come to class, you guys come loaded. You come with questions. You come with, look at this. You come with, you guys don't see what goes on here before we go online. But there's a lot of deep digging and diving to the depths of the word. And that is the house of Israel. When she has been awakened to the fullness of what she's expected, this is what y'all are. This is what she was. Mm-hmm. And I think that is just a beautiful picture.
Sure is.
Let's see. Then the young woman ran and informed those of her mother's house on these matters, and Rivka had a brother whose name was Lavan. Oh, he's going to come back later on, isn't he?
Sure is.
With Yaakov.
Yep.
And Lavan ran out to the man to the fountain. Well, he had just seen the bracelets and the gold nose ring, so he's like, money, money, money. And it's interesting because we have so many meeting at the water fountains, don't we? At the wells.
Yeah, where the waters are. Isn't that interesting? That
The
seemed
living
very
waters.
important to Yahusha.
So go to John. Let's go ahead and read John 4:3-14, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. Let me get there. John 3, 4-14.
John 4:3-14.
4,
But you're close.
And I'm close, yeah. There you
I
go.
did the same thing. I'm switch.
All right. He left Yehud and departed again into Galilee, and he must needs go through Shomeron. Then he came to a city of Shomeron, which is called Shechar, near to the parcel of ground that Yaakov gave to his son Yosef. Now Yaakov's well was there. Yahusha, therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. There came a woman of Shomeron to draw water. Yahusha said unto her, Give me to drink, for his Talmidim were gone away unto the city to buy food. Then said the woman of Shomeron unto him, How is it that you, being a Yehudi, ask drink of me, which am a woman of Shomeron?
Okay. Why would she ask that? She almost sounds haughty.
Mm-hmm.
What? You're
Okay,
asking
what right do
me
you
for a
have?
drink? Go to Acts 10:28
Okay.
and hold your place there because you're not through.
Uh-oh.
But but guys, where are we talking about here? Shomron. This is Samaria. Okay. So in most of your Bibles you're going to see it listed as Samaria. Who went north? And Samaria's north. It's north of Jerusalem. Who went north of Jerusalem?
The 10 kingdoms.
The house of Israel went north.
But not kingdoms, 10 tribes.
That's it. She's part of that house of Israel. Okay?
And he said unto them, You know how it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Yehudi to keep company or come unto one of another nation? But Elohim has showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
So what is Yahusha?
He is Yehudi.
He's Yehudi. He's from the tribe of Yehuda. He was not allowed, it was below him to eat with anyone from the house of Israel or to drink something. I mean, she's going to draw him water. She's like, you're going to ask me to draw you water? You're going to drink something that I draw for you? I just think it's so cool. Keep going. I think you're in
Then
10.
said, I didn't quite finish 9.
I'm
Then
sorry.
Said, that's all right. Then said the woman of Shomeron unto him, How is it that you, being a Yehudi, ask drink of me, which am a woman of Shomeron? For the Yehudim have no dealings with the Shomerenim. Yahusha answered and said unto her, If you knew the gift of Elohim, and who it is that says to you, Give me to drink, you would have asked of him, and he would have given you living water. The woman said unto him, Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then have you that living water? Are you greater than our father Yaakov, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Yahusha answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinks of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinks of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in a well of water springing up into everlasting life. The woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. Yahusha said unto her, Go, call your man, and come hither. The woman answered and said, I have no man. Yahusha said unto her, You have well said, I have no man. For you have had 5 men, and whom you now have is not your man. In that you said truly. The woman said unto him, Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet.
So her attitude's changing.
She's getting a little different now. Yeah.
But she's kind of like sassy. I mean, this is a kind of a sassy girl of like, you think you're greater than our father Yaakov? And she knew who she was. She's the house of Israel. You think you're greater than our father Yaakov, who gave us the well and drank from it himself and his sons and his cattle? And so now she's going, hey, I want some of that water too, right? Go to let's go to Jeremiah 2:13. And
This direction.
Grant, would you read from Revelation 7:17?
2:13. All right. For my people have committed 2 evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out of cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water.
Guys, they're drinking from broken cisterns in most of the churches right now, aren't they?
Yep.
Hey, Seth, would you pull that chicken out that I forgot?
See,
I left it in the oven cooking all this time. Y'all may not have chicken, sorry. Maybe roasted chicken.
They are drinking out of broken cisterns right now.
We are.
Yeah.
We are. And I mean, I drank out of broken cisterns forever, and we were still hungry, and we were still thirsty. Why?
Because we weren't being fed. We weren't being given anything to drink.
We were being carried to, it's like going to a pasture or carrying your sheep. Jace, you know what I'm talking about here. Carrying your sheep to a pasture that has nothing but dirt. And they look at you like, bye. Like, bad mom.
It's like sitting,
Bad mom,
sitting
right?
down at a table, and you got your tablecloth laid out, you got your nice china, you got your best silverware here, and you're looking around because there's no steak.
There's no food, there's no water. That's what the majority of pastors right now are literally taking their sheep to pastures that have nothing in it to provide for sustenance.
That's
And
why
so-
in the last days, the deserts are going to spring forth waters flowing like rivers.
We're seeing that.
We sure are.
We are seeing that, aren't we, Tiffy?
Yes, ma'am.
Tiffy.
Where's she hiding?
Tiffany, she's back there with Claire. They're like trying to go to sleep. We're not going to
Oh,
let
no.
you. We are not going to allow that.
I'm wide awake and bushy tailed.
You know what we call it, right? Yeah, sleeping
Is that the sleepy couch?
couch.
Yeah, I can't sit on that couch. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I can do that pretty much anywhere,
20
huh?
minute headset.
20 minutes.
Okay. Actually,
20 minutes.
20 minute headset.
let's see. We don't really. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. We don't really have that much more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Cool.
20 minutes.
All right.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You want to keep reading in the Sefer?
I can do that.
Yes.
I believe I was right here on 34. So
Oh,
24, 34.
Okay, right here.
And Eleazar did as Abraham ordered him. And Eleazar swore unto Abraham his Adonai upon this matter. And Eleazar rose up and took 10 camels of the camels of his Adonai, and 10 men from his Adonai's servants with him. And they rose up and went to Haran, the city of Abraham and Nahor, in order to fetch a woman for Yitshaq, the son of Abraham. And while they were gone, Abraham sent to the house of Shem and Eber, and they brought from thence his son Yitshaq. And Yitshaq came home to his father's house to Beersheba, while Eleazar and his men came to Haran. And they stopped in the city by the watering place, and he made his camels to kneel down by the water, and they remained there. And Eleazar, Abraham's servant, prayed and said, O Adonai Elohim of Abraham, send me, I pray you, good speed this day, and show kindness unto my Adonai, that you shall appoint this day a woman for my Adonai's son from his family. And Yahweh hearkened to the voice of Eleazar for the sake of his servant Abraham. And he happened to meet with the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the woman of Nahor, brother to Abraham, and Eleazar came to her house. And Eleazar related to them all his concerns, and that he was Abraham's servant, and they greatly rejoiced at him. And they all blessed Yahweh, who brought this thing about, and they gave him Rivkah, the daughter of Bethuel, for a woman for Yitshaq. And the young woman was of very, very comely appearance. She was a maiden, and Rivkah was 10 years old in those days. And Bethuel and Lavan and his children made a feast on that night, and Eleazar and his men came and ate and drank and rejoiced there on that night. And Eleazar rose up in the morning, he and the men that were with him. And he called to the whole household of Bethuel, saying, Send me away that I may go to my Adonai. And they rose up and sent away Rivkah and her nurse Deborah, the daughter of Uts. And they gave her silver and gold, men servants and maidservants, and they blessed her. And they sent Eleazar away with his men. And the servants took Rivkah, and he went and returned to his Adonai to the land of Canaan. And Yitshaq took Rivkah, and she became his woman, and he brought her into the tent. And Yitshaq was 40 years old when he took Rivkah, the daughter of his uncle Bethuel, for a woman. And it came...
Okay, we're fixing to get into a whole different, huh?
She was 10.
She was 10 years old. But now, he took her into the tent, but I don't believe he took her into the tent and made her a wife.
consummation.
Yeah, there was a marriage period there. So,
Which is traditional.
yes, it was very traditional. So, she wasn't like,
Nah, I know.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious. Never saw that.
And they could have been. I don't know. I mean,
Different
it doesn't really tell us. Yeah, it was way different. But if you think about it, most of the women were way up in age when they got married. 70, 100. I mean, they were on up there.
Crazy times.
Okay, we are going to go. We're going to go back into the scriptures. I'm going to start in 24:51, and we're going to what?
Mm-hmm.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to read through Rivkah leaving, and we're going to see her when she first sees Yitshaq. And she is like, wow, Mamma Mia, who's that guy?
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia.
She's
Hey,
like,
it's Italian
It
day.
is, yeah.
having
Meet the pie and
Italian
the
food
spaghetti.
today.
Yeah.
Okay. See, Rivkah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife as Yahweh has spoken. And it came to be when Abraham's servant heard their words that he bowed himself towards the earth before Yahweh. And the servant brought out ornaments of silver and ornaments of gold and garments and gave them to Rivkah. And he also gave costly gifts to her brother and to her mother. And he and the men who were with him ate and drank, spent the night, and when they arose in the morning, he said, "Let me go to my master." But her brother and mother said, "Let the young woman stay with us a few days, at least 10, and then you go." And he said to them, "Do not delay me, since Yahweh has prospered my way. Let me go that I may go to my master." And they said, "Let us call the young woman and ask her." You got to remember, this is their daughter, their sister. She's young. They may think, hey, she was very hasty when she said, "I would like to go and be his wife." And so they're going to check with her. So they called Rivkah and they said to her, "Are you going with this man?" And she said, "I will go." And so they let go Rivkah, their sister, and her nurse, and Avram's servant and his men. And they blessed Rivkah and they said to her, "Let our sister become the mother of thousands, of 10,000s, and let your seed possess the gates of those who hate them." Wow, that's Deborah kind of fell into that description. And Rivkah and her young women arose and they rode on the camels and followed the man. So the servant took Rivkah and left. And Yitshaq came from the way of Beer Lahai Roi, for he dwelt in the south. And Yitshaq went out to meditate in the field in the evening, and he lifted his eyes and looked and saw the camels coming. And Rivkah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Yitshaq, she dismounted from her camel. And she said to the servant, she said, "Who is this man walking in the field to meet us?" And the servant said, "It is my master." So she took a veil and she covered herself. And the servant said, told Yitshaq all the matters he had done. And Yitshaq brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and he took Rivkah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. And thus Yitshaq was comforted after his mother's death. And we are fixing to see in 25, Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah. And she bore him Zimram, and Yoshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Yishbak, and Shewa. So Abraham literally had 6 more sons.
Wow.
At this point. I know. He's already having lots of kids, isn't he? So would you go to Jubilees 19:11? And then we're going to start in back over here. So I'm going to keep reading while you're going there so that we don't waste much time. And Yokshan brought forth Sheba. It's just going to go through all of the lineages, go down to 5. And now Abraham gave all that he had to Yitshaq. He gave all that he had to Yitshaq, but to the sons of the concubines whom Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts while he was still living, and sent them away from his son Yitshaq eastward to the land of the east. And these are all the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 175 years. And Abraham breathed his last, and he died in a good old age. Good and age. Now, he's not really dying right now, okay? Yaakov and Esau are going to be 15 years old when Abraham dies. So it's going to be a few more years. It's going to be 15 more years after this time. But I want you to see what he did in order to protect his son. Okay. Question that we ask our live streamers. Who's his third wife? Who's Abraham's third wife? We know his first wife was who? Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Who was his second wife?
Okay.
Hagar.
Third.
Keturah. Who's Keturah? Okay, so it says he took a wife, Keturah. Does it say who she is? Oh, it doesn't say there.
It
Okay.
does say here.
It does say in the Sefer. What does it say in the Sefer?
And Abraham took to himself a third woman, and her name was Keturah, from among the daughters of his household servants, for Hagar had died before Sarah. And she bore him 6 sons, Zimran and Yokshan and Medan and Midian and Yishbak and Shuach in the 2 weeks of years. It says that she came from among the daughters of his household servants.
She was from Canaan.
Mm-hmm.
She was a Canaanite. So, and that's in Jubilees?
Jubilees 11.
Wow. Okay, so So we see here, this is literally a third woman. She wouldn't have been a third wife if it was still Hagar.
Mhm.
So literally, Hagar died before Sarah.
Yeah.
And does it say that there?
Yes, it sure does. So that answers your question from earlier.
Yes.
Mhm.
So Hagar has already died.
She has.
She died before Sarah. So this is Keturah. This is completely different lineage. So you've got Yitshaq, and you've got Ishmael, and now you've got Keturah. So he is spread all over now.
Yes.
Okay. So Ishmael is who? Saudi Arabia.
Mhm.
We've got Yitshaq, which is going to stay in Israel, and we've got all of Keturah's children, which are going to be the Midianites. And literally, that's where Laban is. He's a Midianite.
It's almost like he's going to have, seed that goes and becomes the nations.
It literally is.
Yeah.
And all of these, he's going to send away. I want you to start in Yasher, read 25:1 through 2, and then skip down to 6.
And it was at that time that Abraham again took a woman in his old age, and her name was Keturah, from the land of Canaan. And she bore unto him Zimran, Yokshan, Medan, Midian, Yishbak, and Shuach, being 6 sons. And the children of Zimran were Abahan, Molik, and Narim. And Abraham sent all these away, and he gave them gifts, and they went away from his son Yitshaq to dwell wherever they should find a place. And all these went to the mountain at the east, and they built themselves 6 cities, in which they dwelt unto this day. But the children of Sheva and Dedan, children of Yokshan, with their children, did not dwell with their brethren in their cities, and they journeyed and encamped in the countries and wildernesses unto this day. And the children of Midian, son of Abraham, went to the east of the land of Cush, and they there found a large valley in the eastern country, and they remained there and built a city, and they dwelt therein, that is the land of Midian, unto this day. And Midian dwelt in the city which he built, he and his 5 sons, all belonging to him. And these are the names of the sons of Midian, according to their names in their cities.
And you don't have to go through those.
Okay.
But going over to 19, it's going to be a lot.
These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, being 12 princes according to their nations. And the families of Ishmael afterward spread forth, and Ishmael took his children and all the property that he had gained, together with the souls of his household and all belonging to him. And they went to dwell where they should find a place. And they went and dwelt near the wilderness of Paran, and their dwelling was from Shavia unto Shur, that is before Mitzrayim as you come toward Ashur. And Ishmael and his sons dwelt in the land, and they had children born to them, and they were fruitful and increased abundantly. And these are the names of the sons of Nebaioth, the firstborn of Yishmael. Mend, Sind, Maon, and the sons of Kedar were Elion, Kezem, Chamad, and Eli. And the sons of Abdiel were Chamad and Yavin, and the sons of Mivsam were Abadihu, Evad, Melech, and Yish. These are the families of the children of Rivah, the woman of Yishmael. And the sons of Mishma, the son of Yishmael, were Shemua, Zechariah, and Oved. And the sons of Dumah were Kezed, Eli, Machmad, and Ahmed. And the sons of Masa were Melon, Mula, and Ebedadon. And the sons of Chedad were Azur, Minzar, and Ebed-Melech. And the sons of Tamah were Sair, Sidon, and Yakul. And the sons of Yetur were Marith, Yaish, Ayo, and Pekath. And the sons of Naphish were Eved Tamad, Aviakath, and Mir. And the sons of Kedema were Caliph, Takti, and Omir. And they were the children of Malkuth, the woman of Yishmael, according to their families. All these are the families of Yishmael according to their generations, and they dwelt in those lands wherein they had built themselves cities unto this day. And Rivkah, the daughter of Bethuel, the woman of Abraham's son Yitzhak, was barren in those days. She had no offspring. And Yitzhak dwelt with his father in the land of Canaan, and Yahuwah was with Yitzhak, and Arpachshad, the son of Shem, the son of Noach, died in those days, in the 48th year of the life of Yitzhak, and all the days that Arpachshad lived were 438 years, and he died.
Wow. So we've got a lot of death going on. So we're fixing to see everybody dies.
No one gets out alive.
Okay, skip over to
Well,
20,
one fella did.
26,
A
29.
couple of them, actually.
And we're going to see the actual death and burial of Abraham. So there you go.
Unless your name's Enoch, Elijah, or Yahusha, you don't get out alive.
That's right.
And it was at that time that Abraham died, in the 15th year of the life of Yaakov and Esau, the sons of Yitshaq. And all the days of Abraham were 175 years, and he died and was gathered to his people in good old age, old and satisfied with days, and Yitzhak and Ishmael, his sons, buried him.
Hold on. Do y'all see that? Ishmael and Yitshaq together buried him. Ishmael lived by his father this whole time until his death. And once he died, he took, all of his sons, all 12 of them, and he left. But he was with Yitshaq when he buried his dad. So he was very close to him.
Well, and contrary to what the modern world would have you believe, all of the inhabitants of the Middle East got along swimmingly until about 100 years ago.
Oh, really?
Want me to continue?
Yes, please.
And when the inhabitants of Canaan heard that Abraham was dead, they all came with their kings and princes and all their men to bury Abraham. And all the inhabitants of the land of Haran, and all the families of the house of Abraham, and all the princes and grandees, and the sons of Abraham by the concubines, all came when they heard of Abraham's death. And they recruited Abraham's kindness, and comforted Yitzhak his son, and they buried Abraham in the cave which he bought from Ephron, the Shittim, and his children for the possession of a burial place. And all the inhabitants of Canaan, and all those who had known Abraham, wept for Abraham a whole year, and men and women mourned over him. And all the little children and all the inhabitants of the land wept on account of Abraham, for Abraham had been good to them all, and because he had been upright with Elohim and men. And there arose not a man who feared Elohim like unto Abraham, for he had feared his Elohim from his youth, and had served Yahweh, and had gone in all his ways during his life, from his childhood to the day of his death. And Yahweh was with him, and delivered him from the counsel of Nimrod and his people. And when he made war with the 4 kings of Elam, he conquered them. And he brought all the children of the earth to the service of Elohim, and he taught them the ways of Yahuwah, and caused them to know Yahuwah. And he formed a grove and planted a vineyard therein. And he had always prepared in his tent meat and drink to those that passed through the land, that they might satisfy themselves in his house. And Yahweh Elohim delivered the whole earth on account of Abraham. And it was after the death of Abraham that Elohim blessed his son Yitzhak and his children. And Yahuwah was with Yitzhak as he had been with his father Abraham. For Yitzhak kept all the commandments of Yahuwah as Abraham his father had commanded him. And he did not turn to the right or to the left from the right path which his father had commanded him.
Because he was what? An obedient son. This is just, when you get into the book of Yashar, you see how amazing Abraham was. And it's in the book of Yashar is where we saw that he had doors on all 4 sides of his house, vineyards and olive trees and fruit trees, and he fed anyone who came down the road, right? He fed them, he clothed them, he offered them a place to sleep. And this is all gorgeous. Next week, we get into some really fascinating things with Esau and Yitshaq. We're going through Genesis pretty fast, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the first few weeks were rough, weren't they? They were packed full. As Grant said, they were compressed. And really, we have basically finished this Torah portion. Yeah, we have finished it.
I think there's one more lesson in Abraham too, and that is he followed the Torah faithfully, constantly. And it says throughout the Torah, if you follow the Torah and the commandments and everything that Yahweh tells you to do, he will bless you abundantly, and he will overflow your vineyards and overflow your land, and everything will come in abundance. And so what's happening there is he keeps giving and giving and giving,
Yes.
and Yahweh never lets that well run dry.
That is what you see, is that he doesn't stop from feeding or taking care of people, and Abba just keeps providing for him. So it is it says here that Yahweh blessed and saved the whole world because of Avram's righteousness.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great
Way back
grandfather. Abraham. We should all be thankful for everything that he did, right? You okay here? You need some of my water?
Corey's learning, like I have to find out from time to time, you can't breathe the water, you have to drink it.
That's okay. Seth is over there taking your pour.
Little Heimlich going.
So guys, we answered the questions. who was Abraham's third wife. We've seen the deeded property. And I'm going to tell you what is really cool is that when we get into the death of Yitshaq, well, it's not Yitshaq, it's the death of Yaakov. This book of the Sefer of the deed is going to be very important. They're going to bring it back out. So it's passed from dad to son to son. Yes, sir.
The Sefer?
As a book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a
Book or
book of
scroll.
the purchases of the land. So there are other purchases that have been made. Did we read First Kings?
I don't think we made it there.
need to.
There's some
Huh?
hungry people though. Are we going to make it there?
Let's do it. It's really fast.
I got First Kings. Where am I going?
First Kings 1.
That's easy.
First Kings. We're doing 1 through 13.
1 through 13. All right. Now King David was old and stricken in years, and they covered him with clothes, but he got no heat. Wherefore his servants said unto him, Let there be sought for my Adonai the king a young maiden, and let her stand before the king, and let her cherish him, and let her lie in your bosom, that my Adonai the king may get heat. So they sought for a fair damsel throughout all the coast of Yasharel, and found Abishag a Shunammite, and brought her to the king. And the damsel was very fair, and cherished the king, and ministered to him, but the king knew her not. And Adoniyahu, the son of Chagiath, exalted himself, saying, I will be king. And he prepared him chariots and horsemen, and 50 men to run before him. And his father had not displeased him at any time in saying, Why have you done so? And he also was a very goodly man. And his mother bore him after Avshalom. And he conferred with Joab the son of Zeruiah, and with Abiathar the priest, and they following Adoniah helped him. But Zadok the priest, and Benayahu the son of Yahuyada, and Nathan the prophet, and Shimei and Rei, and the mighty men which belonged to David were not with Adoniyahu. And Adoniyahu slew sheep and oxen and fat cattle by the stone of Zokaleth, which is by Ain Rogel, and called all his brethren the king's sons, and all the men of Yehuda the king's servants. But Nathan the prophet and Benayahu and the mighty men and Shalomah his brother he called not. Wherefore Nathan spoke unto Bathsheba, the mother of Shalomah, saying, Have you not heard that Adoniyahu, the son of Shagiath, reigns, and David our Adonai knows it not? Now therefore come, let me, I pray you, give counsel, that you may save your own life and the life of your son Shalomah. Go and get you in unto King David, and say unto him, Did not you, my Adonai, O king, swear 7 oaths unto your handmaids, saying, Assuredly, Shalomah your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne. Why then does Adoniyahu reign? Behold, while you yet talk there with the king, I also will come in after you and confirm your words. And Bathsheba went in unto the king into the chamber, and the king was very old. And Abiashag the Shunammite ministered unto the king, and Bathsheba bowed and did obeisance to the king. And the king said, What would you? And she said unto him, My Adonai, you swore 7 oaths by Yahuwah Eloheka unto your handmaid, saying, Assuredly, Shalomah your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne. And now, behold, Adoniyahu reigns, and now my Adonai the king, you know it not. And he has slain oxen and fat cattle and sheep in abundance, and has called all the sons of the king, and Abiathar the priest, and Joab the captain of the host. But Shalomah your servant has he not called. And you, my Adonai, O king, the eyes of all Yasharel are upon you, that you should tell them who shall sit on the throne of my Adonai the king after him. Otherwise it shall come to pass, when my Adonai the king shall sleep with his fathers, that I and my son Shalomah shall be counted offenders. And lo, while she yet talked with the king, Nathan the prophet also came in. And they told the king, saying, Behold, Nathan the prophet. And when he was come in before the king, he bowed himself before the king with his face to the ground. And Nathan said, My Adonai, O king, have you said Adoniyahu shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne? For he has gone down this day, and has slain oxen and fat cattle and sheep in abundance, and has called all the king's sons, and the captains of the host, and Abiathar the priest. And behold, they eat and drink before him, and say, Elohim, save King Adoniyahu. But me, even me, your servant, and Zadok the priest, and Benayahu the son of Yahuyada, and your servant Shalomah, has he not called? Is this thing done by my Adonai the king, and you have not showed it unto your servant, who should sit on the throne of my Adonai the king after him? Then King David answered and said, Call me Bathsheba. And she came into the king's presence and stood before the king. And the king swore 7 oaths and said, As Yahweh lives, that has redeemed my soul out of all distress, even as I swore 7 oaths unto you by Yahweh Elohai of Yasharel, saying, assuredly, Shaloma your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne in my stead. Even so will I certainly do this day. Then Bathsheba bowed with her face to the earth and did reverence to the king and said, let my Adonai, King David, live forever. And King David said, call me Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Benayahu the son of Yahoiada. And they came before the king. The king also said unto them, take with me you the servants of your Adonai, and cause Shalom my son to ride upon my own mule, and bring him down to Gishon. And let Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet anoint him their king over Yasharel, and blow ye with the shofar, and say, Elohim, save King Shalom. Then you shall come up after him, that he may come and sit upon my throne. For he shall be king in my stead, and I have appointed him to be ruler over Yasharel and over Yehuda. And Benayahu the son of Yahoiada answered the king and said, Amen. Yahuwah Elohai of my Adonai the king says so too. As Yahweh has been with my Adonai the king, even so be he with Shaloma, and make his throne greater than the throne of my Adonai King David. So Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet and Benayahu the son of Yahoiada and the Kerethiim and the Pelethiim went down and caused Shaloma to ride upon King David's mule and brought him to Gishon. And Zadok the priest took a horn of oil out of the tabernacle and anointed Shaloma. And they blew the shofar, and all the people said, Elohim, save King Shaloma. And all the people came up after him, and the people piped with pipes and rejoiced with great joy, so that the earth rent with the sound of them. And Adoniyahu and all the guests that were with him heard it as they had made an end of eating. And when Joab heard the sound of the shofar, he said, wherefore is this noise of the city being in an uproar? And while he yet spoke, behold, Yahonathan the son of Abiathar the priest came, and Adoniyahu said unto him, come in, for you are a valiant man, and bring good news. And Yahonathan answered and said to Adoniyahu, truly our Adonai the King David has made Shalom a king. And the king has sent with him Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Benayahu the son of Yahoiada, and the Kerethiim, and the Pelethiim, and they have caused him to ride upon the king's mule. And Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet have anointed him king in Gishon, and they are come up from thence rejoicing, so that the city rang again. This is the noise that you have heard. And also Shaloma sits on the throne of the kingdom. And moreover the king's servants came to bless our Adonai King David, saying, Elohim, make the name of Shaloma better than your name, and make his throne greater than your throne. And the king bowed himself upon the bed. And also thus said the king, blessed be Yahuwah Elohai of Yasharel, which has given one to sit on my throne this day, my eyes even seeing it. And all the guests that were with Adoniyahu were afraid, and rose up, and went every man his way. And Adoniyahu feared because of Shaloma, and arose and went, and caught hold on the horns of the altar. And it was told Shaloma, saying, behold, Adoniyahu fears King Shaloma, for lo, he has caught hold on the horns of the altar, saying, let King Shaloma swear 7 oaths unto me today, that he will not slay his servant with the sword. And Shaloma said, if he will show himself a worthy man, there shall not a hair of him fall to the earth, but if wickedness shall be found in him, he shall die. So King Shaloma sent, and they brought him down from the altar, and he came and bowed himself to King Shaloma. And Shaloma said unto him, go to your house.
Wow. And so you read the whole thing, and really it was good because it's a wonderful story. Again, it's a father protecting his son and everything that he had planned for his son. What's interesting is Shaloma was after these other boys. He's the youngest.
Yep.
And so you've got the youngest coming into power and authority. And wasn't it was it Adoniyahu, or was it his other son that was so beautiful that tried to? It was his other son, his first son, Absalom, tried to take the throne away from King David, and it broke his heart.
Yeah.
I mean, even it did. It just because it broke his heart, but he died. Yes, well, and he died.
Yeah, and he did die.
And
He died. They all died.
yeah,
Except for
Elijah, Enoch, and Yahusha.
and Ezra and Baruch. Did you know they're both taken away?
no, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah, I came across an I hadn't studied it
Baruch?
in scripture, but I
Baruch
read it in an
and
article
Ezra.
the other day. Yeah.
We better get down there. They're putting our stuff through a food processor.
You can eat our food.
Right.
That's probably a good stopping place.
That is perfect. So Fathers, y'all are very important to your sons, right?
Mhm.
You guide them, you direct them, you send them to school. You spend all your money sending them to school, and this is what you get. What's going on? No, you homeschool, which is way better.
Yes.
Way better.
I have
What?
a good
You know
fortune to be
what?
homeschooled.
I believe everyone in here is homeschooling.
Yeah. Except Kaylin, who's done.
That is totally amazing.
What's this?
Wow, I just realized that today.
That's pretty cool. There go the eyes.
And her beautiful eyebrows, look at those. Aren't they beautiful?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna show you a picture of her. Because that's just me today. We're not showing pictures of anybody.
Nope.
Guys, we need to be praying God's will over Israel, over the people of Israel. You know, we do know that one day Israel will be destroyed.
Mhm.
When Yahushua comes back, where will his feet stand?
On
Mount of
Zion.
Mount of Olives
Mhm.
and the Temple Mount.
Mhm.
And it will
Comes down
split. It will split Israel apart. So it will split Jerusalem apart. So one day that city will be destroyed.
Mhm.
That's Yah's word. That's where it comes from.
Everything will. New heaven and a new earth.
A new heaven and a new earth with a new Jerusalem coming down out of the heavens. So we do not supposed to be smarter or wiser than Yah. He knows people. What does he know?
Our hearts.
Our hearts. He knows that our hearts are evil above all things, right? So he does know the hearts of the men and the women and the people in this whole war that's going on over there. And it is a war, guys. And
And if there's a need to be saved that are righteous, he'll do it.
He
But
will
there's
save
some
those-
good news because in Ezekiel 36 he says, is it 36:26? And I shall give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you, and I shall take the heart of stone out of your flesh, and I shall give you a heart of flesh, and put my spirit within you, and I shall cause you to walk in my laws and guard my right rulings, and shall do them.
And this is going to be millennial, and he's going to do this in the millennial time. So what would make us think that we don't have to walk in his laws and guard his right rulings today?
Lawlessness.
Nobody wants to be under the law.
Yeah.
They're under 20,000 plus laws of the land, but they don't want to be under our Father's law and his commandments. I don't get that. I cannot even begin to fathom how they get to the point of, well, we're not under that law. I saw someone this week. They wrote, well, we're not under the law of God anymore. We're under grace. And I was like, oh, you know me. I had to say something. I haven't looked to see if they responded. I was like, what's wrong with you, Baba? No.
What is grace? It's,
Favor.
well, it's also
Earned.
forgiveness
Yes.
for sin. Well, what is sin? Breaking the
Lawlessness.
law. So there's no law. What do you need grace for?
Well,
Exactly.
So you hit it right on the head of the nail, okay? They don't get that. Why do they even pray a sinner's prayer if there's nothing to sin? I mean,
If their past, present, and future sins are all forgiven, why do they even have to ask for forgiveness?
none of it makes sense, and that's why I'm saying you have to be deaf, dumb, and blind to be able to sit in a pew today because they're teaching,
Lawlessness.
they're lying.
They lie!
They lie. So, and I don't think that
That's
a lot
true.
of these preachers even know that they're not teaching properly because they're not studying the front of the book.
Well, I can tell you from all the signs around that we've seen for Operation Christmas Child, that's probably pretty true.
What is
Not a clue what it is, but it's definitely on the signs of churches. And
Yeah, it's that
I was
shoebox.
looking up Bible Hub the other day, and
Right.
Operation Christmas Child was being solicited for donations on, I think it was Bible Hub, I don't know, don't quote me, but one of the lexicons that I use. And so, yeah, they don't know.
So, guys, let me ask you something. And I stated it to my husband this morning because everybody's got Christmas decorations up everywhere. Everywhere. Every store. You go into stores now and they've already got their Christmas music
Well, they're
up,
trying to
and
get
I'm
you
like,
into that Christmas spirit.
Some people are even getting invited to White Elephant Winter Solstice celebrations, I've heard.
What?
And even calling it winter solstice.
Yeah.
They're not even calling it Christmas parties anymore. They call it winter solstice.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that person's shoes because that'd be a hard one to have to explain to your coworkers that I'm not going to Christmas, much less winter solstice celebration.
I'm so upset about it. I'm becoming Italian. That's why we're having Italian food.
That's right.
Eventually,
We're-
one day, let's go eat.
Okay, so guys, we thank you all for joining us today
Yeah,
for
thank
this learning about Sarah's life and the end of her life and the beautiful funeral and then the amazing funeral for Abraham and his wives. So we appreciate you joining us. I hope you learned something, and I wish I could see if
And-
anybody wrote any questions.
And if you have questions, reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer them. If you need a copy of the
You know-
scriptures, reach out to us. We'll be happy to give you one.
I think that, oh look, there's the comments.
Oh, we've got some comments. I'm not sure what those comments are, but where are they? It says they're there. Oh, here we go. So we had a whole bunch of
Oh,
people
it's all
saying some
Valerie.
things.
It's Valerie and Seth. Seth, were you not paying attention during class?
We've got a few people
He's
here who are
chit-chatting.
talking.
Of course I was not.
All right.
Okay, I'm ready to go eat.
Okay.
Shabbat shalom to you,
Yeah. Well,
my
thank
family.
you for those of y'all that were watching. We're glad that y'all joined us today.
Okay, and so we are going to read through these questions or statements, and we will definitely respond to you.
We'll do a better
Valerie.
job of noticing that there are comments during the live stream.
Well, and Seth, you obviously saw. Did we have any questions that need to be
I
answered
didn't see.
about creeping creatures or anything? Good. Okay, let's pray.
Absolutely. Abba Yahuwah, we come before you as an assembly and we thank you for this wonderful time on your Shabbat to gather together. We thank you for the learnings and the instructions that are given, and we thank you that your Ruach falls upon us to show us these things. We pray that our eyes and our ears would be further opened as we spend time with our family over lunch, that you would just give us conversations that would further enlighten us into your word and would open opportunities for us to learn more from each other. The beauty of this, Father, is that we get to come before you together and we get to open our eyes and ears to each other when every one of us has something to say of importance and quality that teaches each and every one of us, even these wonderful children that we have.
That's right.
Open our eyes to so many new things that none of us see. And so, Father, we ask you to just continue to give us boldness and courageousness as we move through in a world that is utterly lost in wickedness and corruption. And Father, we thank you that we don't have to fear any of these things as we move through this world because you walk with us, as it says in Psalm 23. We ask you to just bless the food that we're going to eat, nourish our bodies with it. And Father, give us a wonderful second session when we come back up to speak later. We ask you to take all of these things under your account and apply them to your will if it be so. We say this in the precious name of your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Did y'all notice?
Shalom.
Did y'all notice in that last portion that the only thing that Abraham feared was Yahweh?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that we should fear.
Yeah, go, go.
So, guys,
Do it.
if you're not being obedient, you have a lot more to fear than Yah. So, wake up.
Only fear and respect Yah.
That's it. We love you. Shabbat shalom. Oh, Shabbat
Shalom!
They were waiting for that because everybody's still
That's
up
what
here
they were
waiting
excited
to go.
about.
Yeah, because they're hungry. Are y'all hungry?
Yes!
All
Because
right.
there's cake down there.
What?
There's
Cake?
cake.
Yes!
A ricotta something cake.
And peanut butter cookies.
Oh,
And everybody's gone.
she's talking
Everybody's
about
gone.
do it. And then you have to do it
You
there.
gotta do it
You
again.
gotta double do it.
Time for lunch.